Microphone check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Can you guys hear me okay? Well, looks like we are live. Welcome everybody to the Sleuth Intuition channel. A lot of stuff we're going to get into today. The way I lined it up, we're going to go over some recent media. The majority of the stuff that I collected was direct interviews after the conference. One with Superintendent Doug Carter. There's another one where media pretty much bombarded the Patties. We'll take a look at that. And then I think there was another interview with the Patties and Kelsey German. We're going to show that. And then I think just another 2 short random clips. We'll look at that today. We will look at some stuff that was posted up from Becky Patty and just some strange photos of this Richard Allen person, some comparisons, and then we'll dive into this. We can also talk about kind of some crime scene scenarios, what we think happened now that we kind of know where he lives, that he's extremely local. And then we'll go into my little theory that I've been kind of mulling over this morning about KK possibly meeting Richard Allen at the Marathon gas station to purchase maybe some drugs that he acquired while working at CVS. So we'll play a couple random news reports about people who were caught and charged for stealing specifically from CVS. Seems to be more of the cases were actually at CVS's than anywhere else. One case involved over $40,000 worth of, I think, Vicodin and Xanax, apparently. And then we'll finish it out with that, and hopefully that'll start a nice conversation. I'll open up the phone lines, and we'll hang out. So let me see what's going on here in the chat. Oh, Cindy De La Fuente's back. Welcome back to members. Olivia 2's in the house. Babs Forever. Baby Bear. Grunge Truck, good to see you. Non-Violet, good to see you. Vanessa, hey. Julian, friend. Bob Mitchell, absolutely. Sela Stingy. Vanessa Marlowe. Lynn, hello. Dawn, good to see you. Marlowe, True Crime Housewife. The Rockaways, how are you? Yep, we're going to talk about the Murder Sheet podcast. How do we feel about their sources now? Is this still something that's credible? because all these online sleuths and all these people, this is kind of like a resume um, case that they covered. Like people are going to start looking at how you handled the case, what'd you get right, what'd you get wrong, who was right, who was stubborn. Um, just stuff like that. I mean, I think it's interesting in itself. It's like a social experiment, the way people behave. I mean, isn't that part of true crime? Human behavior, right? So to me, it's all highly interesting. It's all really fascinating. So I think at some point in this conversation, we'll talk about that. Good to see you, Chopper, Glenn, Carrie Ann, Kid. Check the rhyme. Haven't seen you in a while. Very nice to see you, Morgan LaFay. Sleuth, please check out the Yorkie's comment about lady calling in about reporting her ex-husband. Oh, was that the super chat? Let me go back. I did read that. Yorkie says, "Hi, Sleuth. Tom Webster's live last night. I thought I heard someone say that RA's first wife called your show. I don't know if it was his first wife. She is a member, or not a, she, yeah, she might even be a member of my channel, longtime subscriber, called in, shared a story with us, never followed up, hasn't followed up with me saying, holy crap, like, yeah, that was him. So that could just be rumors being spread around. Or not. I don't know. She hasn't confirmed it with me. I haven't seen her in the chat recently either, so I guess that's kind of strange. Maybe she'll pop in today. All right. Hey, what's up, Callie? Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. It's always great to see Callie connect. In the house, good friend of mine. Amy, how are you? Charmaine, Lakeside, what's up? Nadia, Murder Sheet said Tony did it. They got it wrong too. I don't think they ever said Tony did it, but they were no different than a lot of these YouTube, channels, including myself, where they get hung up. But I mean, a lot of people are tried in court for circumstantial evidence. So, like I said, everything is an experiment. It's all human behavior. And if you can't admit that you're wrong, or you can't apologize when you're wrong, or you can't get better, people are going to notice. They're not as dumb as some. People think you're dumb, but we notice when you lie, and we notice when you don't admit it, and we notice when you don't. It's all character traits. So I think we can talk about that a little bit as well today. Shane, good to see you. Jim Cook, Joe Johnson, my Charlie, hello. Yeah, I think, Tom, you were right. That was a very interesting comment you made about, law enforcement trying to find out who their leak is, especially at that point in the case. Maybe it's important to know that if they're getting ready to make a huge move, whether it's political or not, they do have a new prosecutor. Dude looked weathered too, by the way. What's up, Bruce? Ruckus, my man. What's up, buddy? Tracy Chapman, how are you? I love that name, Tracy Chapman. Because I love her music, I guess. His actual height, well, his mugshot says he's 5'4". Let me pull this up. So yeah, they got him marked. It's like really what, 5'3.5", maybe. I'm hearing theft of tools from his neighbor is what caught Richard. Yeah, I've heard it was theft of tools, possibly theft from the CVS itself. Tom had 1,500 ish in his chat last night. What is that? Richard Allen has been married 31 years. Someone found his marriage certificate and wife was very happy at their 25th anniversary. Yeah, they look like they've been married for a while. I mean, that looks like it was his daughter. She seems like she's about 20 something. So that would fit. What's up, Bossy? SP74, good to see you as well. Whitey Kane, stop with Kagan Klein. If he was involved, he would have been arrested, period. If you're criminal like you talk, you were when you were a kid, Sleuth, you would know how the police work. Why would I know how the police work? I was a kid. And you sound like a negative person. Good luck with that, buddy. Richard Allen hasn't been had a pharmacy tech license for very long. Wonder what other positions he has held. Yeah, that's true. But from what I understand, you have to renew them. So maybe that was just the renewal. I'm not sure how that all works. Hey, what's up, Repo Recon? By the way, Murder Sheet didn't know squat either. They went to the station and were politely asked to leave when they inquired. Yeah, we didn't see. The thing was, we weren't supposed to know. You know, knowing would have been awesome, and it would have been a plus. But most importantly, we were supposed to keep the conversation alive, putting pressure on law enforcement. I mean, think about it. If the attention on this case died down, let's say 2 or 3 years ago, I mean, maybe this guy wouldn't even have been caught. And I think, and not only that, regardless of putting pressure on law enforcement and keeping attention on the case, what if we single-handedly, as a collective, put enough pressure on this guy to keep him from doing it again? Think about it. If the case died down and nobody was talking about it and he gets his confidence back, if this was his first time, fledgling killer, like it seems, kind of sloppy and more lucky and more knowledge of the area is how he got away. But if he had his confidence back, who's to say he's not going to go do this again? Who's to say he hasn't done it before? So it's not about knowing what happened. Of course, the mystery is going to drive certain people crazy. That picture of the guy on the bridge, man, that drove me. I'm still looking at the image. I'm trying to see what I got right. What were the techniques that got me the closest? That way, I can use it in the future. Yep, Southern Indiana and traveled around Logansport. I don't know who's spreading that tale. It's a very interesting and makes for good YouTube, I guess. But it just, I mean, that's a stretch, and I have nothing to add to that. From my understanding, it doesn't line up. Yep, some people can't admit they were completely wrong about Richard Allen as bridge guy. Yep, I mean, we all were completely wrong. We weren't supposed to be right. See, that's that ego again. It's like, well, and some people still think that they're right. Well, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. I'll show you in the end, You haven't seen the last plot twist. I'll show you in the end. But no, what I'd like to do is kind of look at everything that we did get right and be happy about that. Hey, some of the stuff we got right, some we got wrong. So focus on the stuff that you got right and try to capture that mind frame, try to capture what it was that you were doing that led you to those right answers, and try to stick with that. I've learned so much. Like I said, it's not over yet. They said the case is not, it's not even considered closed. So that's why we're going to have this conversation. There still could be a connection between Kagan Klein and this guy. In Kagan's interview, they asked him, hey, it's possible that you just know somebody, that you were talking with them, and you said, hey, I did talk to some girls, I was supposed to meet them out there at the bridge today. Law enforcement literally said that to Kagan Klein in his interview. And maybe Kagan Klein's thinking to himself, hey, look, I'm not gonna snitch on this guy, especially not for free. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Let me load some of these videos up and then we can hang out in the chat. Oh, thank you, Frank. Give me one moment. Let's start with this one here.
This afternoon is what exactly led investigators to arrest on Friday. The update today, though, we now know that Richard Allen has been charged with 2 counts of murder in the deaths of Abby Williams and Libby German. Carroll County prosecutor Nick McLeland told us the 50-year-old is being held in the White County Jail without bond. McLeland told us Allen already had his initial hearing where he entered a not guilty plea. Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter told us this morning it's been 2,086 days since Abby and Libby were found dead, and he says every day since, this task force has been working to find answers and justice. Officials here described today's update as a step in the right direction, but said this investigation is still far from over. And because of that, court documents on Allen's arrest will remain sealed.
What Doug had alluded to as well is I really do appreciate the media. Some of you I've come to know, or we've come to know over the last 5.5 years, and you've really been very helpful to us. And keeping the names out there, keeping this case alive. Very appreciative of that. And while this is another chapter in this whole story that in our lives that we're going through right now, I want to make sure that we continue that. Right. The next chapter is now we're onto the prosecution side. Right. And let's keep that open out there. Keep that flowing. Keep the information coming in. I want to make sure we get as much information for the investigators and specifically the prosecutor, specifically at this time moving forward. So with all your guys' help, we keep the information out there and keep the girl's name out there. And again, any information pertaining to anything with this case, obviously with the person arrested, but anything at all, please call that in. Please turn those tips in, because I want to make sure that that's how we support as a family, right, is keep it out there, asking for help, and you guys carry that message back out there for us, and we are so appreciative of that. But let's stay on top of that and keep pushing forward, because we got another hill to climb, and we're going to get to the top of it. We certainly are.
Mike, how do you feel that the suspect could be a neighbor, could be somebody you've known?
Well, Doug Carter said that early on, if you recall. He said he's hiding in plain sight, and that's the case. I don't know the gentleman personally at all, So I've probably seen him, but it's a small county, But definitely I don't know him.
What went through your heart, sir, when the last couple of weeks when you heard of a suspect and now an arrest? I mean, tell me, it's been so long. It's
somewhat bittersweet, knowing that while it allows us to move to the next turn or the next chapter, we still got a big mountain ahead of us, and we're going to stay after it. We haven't ever given up, and you guys haven't given up on.
And if I'm not wrong, this church is like right up the street from the guy's house, right? I wonder if he went to that church ever, or if his family did.
Us, and we're going to keep pushing all the way.
There's a lot of information that can't be shared, obviously, at this time. So why is it important to continue with the integrity of the investigation?
I want to make sure that we have everything we possibly need and more. I don't want to leave any stone unturned.
Becky, how are you doing?
Do you have anything that you want to add? Sorry, I'm down here, but hi. What went through your heart when you heard? They told you on Friday, correct? Is that when they?
Well, we were called in on Wednesday and told that they had detained somebody, so we've had a couple more days to process this. I don't feel like I thought I would. I've always said that I would be screaming on the rooftops, but we're not. It's sad. While there's somebody that's been arrested, there is, our lives for 5.5 years have been in a search.
Let me address this real quick. Non-Violet says, as I mentioned earlier, Murder Sheet went to Richard Allen's father's house and walked up on him when he got out of his car in his driveway. Really grossed me out. That is not my kind of journalism. What they call that is ambush journalism.
Search mode, and that's what we've done. And you get up and it's like, oh, we're not doing that anymore. So we're all just kind of feeling our way.
What's up, Big Frank?
Figuring out what our purpose is now. What do we do next? How do we help? That's what we want to know, is how do we help now to make sure we have the right person, to make sure there's a conviction, to come to a total final resolution.
Ma'am, are you all fearful that someone else was involved in this that is still at large?
That's certainly a possibility, and that's why we're keeping it open out there, right? That's why the investigators answered that question as well, is the tip line remains open. So any information pertaining to this case, that's certainly, I want to get that to the investigative team and let them vet that out.
You're fearful that that person or those people might have had a role in the actual crime itself?
He's like, I'm not fearful as shit.
What you're asking.
Do you think there's anybody in this town that knew about this and kept their mouth shut?
I don't know. That would be speculation, really. I mean, what do you think?
It's a small town.
Oh, that pissed him off.
A lot of people who know each other.
Wait, let me go back on that. I didn't notice that
knew
before.
about this and kept their mouth shut?
I don't know. That would be speculation, really. I mean,
Watch this.
what do you think?
Oh, man. Confident Mike Patty seems scary.
It's a small town.
Bet you
Sure
he could
is.
scrap.
A lot of people who know each other.
Yeah, I'll save those words when I see him face to face.
Hey, Mike. Hey, sorry, we got here. I guess how's it feel to know that this guy, nationwide search, this guy was found down the street from where you guys have frequented and gone before?
Well, it's not an area that I really frequent, but, I mean, your point is, yeah, it's definitely, that's why we said never stop searching anywhere, because we didn't know where he was. And like I said, Doug Carter had made mention of that, is he could be living right amongst us, hiding in plain sight. And that's what came.
Tell me just how you're feeling.
Have anything to say to Richard Allen?
No, I'll save that for when I see him.
I think that was Frank. Here, let me rewind that. I think this is Frank right here.
Us hiding in plain sight. And that's what came.
Tell me just how you're feeling.
Have anything to say to Richard Allen?
No, I'll save that for when I see him face to face.
So what went through your
good
heart
one,
and
Frank.
mind when those charges were read?
Frank said, do you have anything to say to Richard Allen? And Mike said, I'll save that for when I see him. Wow. That's crazy.
It was a kind of bittersweet. It's I just know that there's another job, another hill for us to climb
good point,
ahead of
Glenn.
us. But we're up for the challenge, and we're going to keep after it. We're not going to stop,
Why is it important to keep the tip line alive at this point?
because I want every stone unturned, every bit of information that's out there pertaining to this case. I want the investigative team to have that information.
How confident are you the police have their man?
That's what the courts will decide, right? But I'm confident. I've always had confidence in the investigative team.
What keeps you hopeful?
Yes, I'm hopeful.
What keeps you hopeful?
That's a good point, Rockaway. Let me go and read this. The key fact was his short stature, noted by the 16-year-old female witness, shown by his bunched up pant legs in the video. Regular off the shelf jeans have legs too long for Richard Allen. That's true. Yep. Us short people, we struggle with that. That's how I knew. I looked at him and I was like, man, this guy's a shorter guy. This is a short, stocky guy, chicken legs. So if your critical mind is telling you short, stocky guy with chicken legs, 5'6", 5'8", but then law enforcement's telling you no, this guy's like 5'10", 6 foot, larger build. Okay. So what do? You got law enforcement pulling you this way, and you have your critical mind and your gut instinct telling you this over here. So that's why you have to talk about them both. And then you got to meet somewhere in the middle, hopefully,
The faith and the strength of our family, and the fact of I know how hard the investigative team has worked, and they're nonstop.
Who asked that?
Yep.
Who asked that?
We're gonna pause this part. I'm going to give a shout out to Jerry. Thanks for the super chat. God bless you as well. Thank you. Yep. If you would have stayed honest, and we all would have stayed honest, we all got caught up in the Keegan Klein stuff. And yeah, we're not done talking about that. You know what I mean? That part's not over. I think that's the part why the case is still open. I think that's the part why Keegan Klein was so confident and why it happened when it did happen. This could be somebody that Keegan Klein communicates with. Maybe not even Keegan Klein, just maybe an associate of Keegan Klein. All they really need to do is be in the same room. Remember, we talked about that theory of somebody just being in the room and hearing the name or becoming curious. So.
Back here.
Oh, I wanted to speak about your faith because I know it was important to you.
Hard the investigative team has worked, and they're nonstop.
Who asked that?
Yep.
Who asked that?
Back here.
Oh, I wanted to speak about your faith because I know it was important to you.
If it were your child, would you have an option?
Yeah, what kind of question is that? Like, oh, well, what are you supposed to do? Have no faith? Like, seriously, that is a really bad question.
Not to be hopeful?
No, absolutely not.
That's why we're hopeful.
You all,
Okay,
can I just ask you one
Like, if you're going to stick the damn microphone in my face, at least ask me a good question.
question? Maybe you can put a rumor to rest or something. There's a report going around right now that this Mr. Allen actually processed some photos for the family at the
Now,
CVS.
there's a good
Do you know if
question.
that's accurate?
That is accurate.
Okay, and that he didn't charge the family when they came in to claim the photos?
That is correct.
Okay, and you know that firsthand. We are always careful to be accurate.
All right, one more question.
We know that.
media coverage of this has been fair?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You guys in the media have been certainly more than fair. I mean, don't get me wrong. We've had our share of shots taken at us, and that's fine. And hopefully those people will now be able to reflect in the mirror and say, oh, maybe that wasn't the case. So, reservations and things like that.
It's weird. Some people are not going to do that. How hard is it to say I was wrong and I wasn't supposed to be right? It was about the girls. It shouldn't be that hard to say,
This is always the better case, right? This is the better judgment. We all know that, and that's just how we are, right? I don't cast judgment on something until I know for sure, and
Okay, thank you, folks.
that's where we're at. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
You're fine.
Ma'am, thank you so much. I know this isn't easy. I appreciate it. Mike,
All right. Before I start the next one, let me go ahead and read Anna Lisette. Hello, by the way. She says the homicides are serial killer level, whether he has killed before or not. Staging several signatures. Don't think that type works with others unless he is a hitman. Doubt Richard Allen is a hitman. Well, I definitely think it's serial killer stuff, and he would have probably gone on to kill again. If his confidence was built up, or if he was suffering from some type of delusional state or mental health issue or a breakdown. I mean, if that potentially could happen again in the future. I only mention that because I heard some rumors about that. But in regards to the staging and several signatures, I think there may have been multiple crime scenes, and the moving and the staging may have just been him trying to hide, you know. Um, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as well.
One thing you said, you stood up there and you said you weren't sure what kind of emotions you were going to feel today.
Yeah.
And talk about that. You pulled up and what, it just hit you.
Well, I got up really early today, and I didn't really work all day yesterday, and in my mind about what was happening, and I just decided to take the long way here. And I was going to get here early, and I decided not to, so it was about a 2-cup trip, and I just disappeared into the rural areas of Delphi, from Delphi to my home, and it was a bit surreal. And then when I pulled into the parking lot, it was really surreal, and it was just peaceful. I just felt, yeah, it was weird. I didn't expect that.
You were visibly emotional up there. Can you talk about that? I mean, you've always said this was personal.
It is personal. It's personal to all of us, and to be able to participate and see the raw emotion and to see the commitment.
Do you guys? It seems like Doug Carter's confident. You know, this might all just be like jargon and stuff they got to say because he hasn't really been tried, and we all have a Fourth Amendment. But he seems extremely confident. Like, why is he taking the little leisure route? Why is he checking out Flora? Is he going to hang around? Is he going to spend more time? Like, what? He really didn't talk too much about Flora.
And the dedication of not just from the state police, but from, the sheriff's office in this county has 12 deputies, I think. The city of Delphi is very small, but it's a wonderful.
Olivia said, someone said he had little man syndrome. Yeah, all short guys have that. I would know. But one thing I did hear, and don't quote me on these little rumor mill stories, but I can't remember where I heard it. I'm sorry if it was on your podcast or if it was on your news channel or whatever. But apparently he threatened to beat his wife or something in front of a witness, and it was at that point where, looking back on that situation, they could kind of see wow, maybe he is capable of it. At the time, apparently, it was this really soft-spoken guy, loving husband, loving father, quote unquote, hiding in plain sight. And apparently was like, hey, as soon as we get out to the parking lot, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. How scary is that? You're sitting here and you're looking at this guy and he says this, I think it was either to a friend or it may have been a worker there.
A wonderful community. And just to see the level of commitment at a time when most people would have just walked away, is very powerful to me as my career comes to an end. It's very powerful.
Are you confident
Anna.
this is your guy?
The judge signed a probable cause affidavit for the arrest of Richard
I didn't know
Allen
that anywhere.
for 2 counts of murder. Yes.
Do you think there are other people involved?
I'm not going to go there.
There's still speculation out there that
Oh, I loved Becky's response. Baby Bear says, I don't think Becky's response was nasty. She's been through hell and back. No, that was an awful question. If you notice all the good questions, they kind of smile and they're like, yep, that's true. That crazy shit is true. They're happy to answer these decent questions. But why would you ask about faith? It's almost like, what kind of person would you be? Is like, yeah, I lost my faith. I lost my faith. They're not going to find a guy. He's going to go kill again. Who cares? I lost my faith. That's the alternative to that question. Ridiculous.
investigators should still continue to
Ridiculous.
look, even though he's passed away, at Ron Logan where the bodies were found.
We're going to keep doing what we've done until there's nothing left for us to do. we're going to keep doing it.
I was looking back at my old notes from,
Yeah.
I have
You've been with us
notebooks,
the whole time,
I
by
have
the way.
notebooks for 5.5 years, so I was reading back on the time when you guys searched Mr. Logan's property, and Kim Riley, was it Kim's, and he was saying it was because some things didn't add up. Are we still looking at Mr. Logan as
We're
possibly
looking at
involved?
everything and at all of it. We're looking at all of it. We said when this happened, we were going to start all over.
So you
And
never,
that's what we're doing.
so you never cleared him, Mr. Logan?
We haven't cleared anybody.
Here she goes.
Talk about the
let's
decision
talk
to
about
keep the
let's talk
PC
about Ron
closed.
Logan. She's like, let's talk about Ron Logan. Ron Logan's connected, right? Right. Look, I got my old notebooks.
Well, that's a part of this entire process. This is not a typical, usual homicide investigation. I mean, they all matter. But this one is different. And Nick McClellan, the prosecutor here, has been a really good partner and made the decision to attempt to do that, and the judge agreed. So that's all I'm going to say about it.
Can you talk about
Hey, Tech
what
Death.
brought you to Mr. Allen?
No, I can't
Can you talk about if he's related to Kevin Klein in any way?
talk about any of the facts associated with the case. Emily, I can't.
He called that a fact.
The Patties confirmed to us that at one point Mr. Allen processed some photos for them at the local CVS and didn't make them pay for them. They there was.
That's a good comment there. Teresita Hillis, hello. Wrote, tired of speculation being considered a negative thing. What else can we do? We're not privy to evidence. Furthermore, law enforcement speculates to develop a working theory. We certainly can speculate without blaming. I think speculation, I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's just something that exists when law enforcement does not provide you with the information that the public needs. Law enforcement is they're public servants. We pay their, with our tax money and the money that we pay, we're paying their salary. So when people are like, say, we write your checks. Well, it's, in a sense, it's true, but in a sense, it's not. But they do have an obligation to report back to the public. That's who they're working for. So for them to be sealing documents and to do all this, it's like you got to have a good reason, because regardless of anything, they answer to the public. So it's almost like the public is demanding that we know, and when they don't provide that information, speculation is kind of like a mushroom. It just kind of grows and grows and grows, and then when they have pressers and they release, factual information, the mushroom starts to die a little bit. Thank you, Glenn.
The rumor out there, and they said, "Yep,
Smash that
that
like
happened."
button.
Did you know that happened?
I didn't.
You always said, I mean, gosh, in every press conference when you brought up the video and the audio, and you addressed the killer several times and said, if you're here, do we know if he was ever in any of those rooms when you talked? Are you going back and looking at video or trying to see?
We're going to do everything we can possibly do.
The command center, that's long been closed, but are we going to reestablish a new command center
There's
now?
one there now. We've moved from the big facility back to the city building and now to another facility near the square in downtown Delphi.
And so is that about to get even busier
I
now?
will give them any resource they want. I'm not going to get involved in the production of a process from an investigative standpoint, but there will be no questions as to why. If they ask for a resource, they'll get it.
Who's the lead investigator, though, on this? Is it Carroll County? Is it you guys? Is
Yes.
it everybody?
Yes, it's a task force. We've been a task force from the very beginning. This event happened in Carroll County.
Let's go ahead and read this comment here by Tech Death Hippie. Good to see you, by the way. He wrote, "No way Libby talks to a predator, KK, and then randomly gets killed by another, Richard Allen. The odds are astronomical." People do win the lottery. It's not likely. It really is not likely, but coincidences do happen. And it's possible, but I agree with you. I don't think that it's likely.
Of course, but we've been unified since the very beginning, and we'll maintain that.
FBI, too? Are they still involved?
FBI and all federal agencies continue to be available to us.
How many, and over these past 5.5 years, where I was trying to find out overall how many tips before today had come in? It was like tens of thousands, or
70,000-ish I should have gotten that this morning. I've said that a couple different times, but I think we're somewhere around 70,000 or just above that.
How about the reward? What was that up to?
Yeah, I think it was 340 or 350,000, I think, and we'll work through all those details as time goes on.
And
Kimmy Canuck responding to SB74 stating, I know. I don't think so either. I came into this thinking the killer was a serial killer. You don't go from 0 to 1,000. Yeah, and once they dropped the information about Richard Allen and we pinpointed exactly, hey, this is the guy, people started kind of showing his history, where he lived, where he moved from. That's how I spent the majority of my morning, was kind of looking for similar cases between those times when he lived at those addresses. Because it's hard to believe that somebody like this can just kill two girls like that in the middle of the day. Either they're having some kind of an episode, or they've done it before, or they've attempted it, maybe before.
to have come to Mr. Allen, is anyone in line to get any of that reward? Is there
We're going to continue to work through those details.
So in other words,
Yeah, I saw that, Rosie. She's like, my bad, but come on.
anything else that you want to add? I was reading last night in an interview, you said, this is the first time in a case that you could recall that you had audio, video of the person you thought was responsible. Do you think Mr. Allen is the man on that bridge?
The judge signed a probable cause affidavit for the arrest of him. I can't wait to tell the story, but today's not the day.
When do you think you can tell that story?
We're going to let the courts decide.
In other words, let them decide when they can release that PC.
Well, and then even then, remember, even then, when the PC's released, due process is still a piece of all this puzzle. And this isn't over until it's over. And that's where the conviction of him.
You said when I interviewed the 5-year anniversary, when we finally charge someone, that's when the real work is going to begin. That basically you have to start all over, essentially?
That's what, in essence, what they'll do. I can't think of a case in my lifetime in a long, long career that had that much information, that much data associated with one case. So the right thing to do is to go back to every one of them.
And you go back through all the tips you've
That's
gotten?
exactly what they'll do.
Every single one since day one?
Yeah.
And maybe you already answered this. Do we know if you ever interviewed Richard Allen in the past?
I'm not going to talk about Mr. Allen.
We've gotten several calls this week, since this broke, that, hey, what about the little girls in Flora? Are you still working on that case?
I wasn't going to say this today. I've said it to a couple of networks, but when I took the long way here today, I stopped in Flora. And there's a gravel lot across from that house where those 4 little girls died. And I said to myself, I hope that one day we're doing the same thing for them. Still alive and well.
Anything else you want to add?
I'm tired.
What's your expression, your thoughts to this community, the people that are out walking the street? They're just going, man, finally, something.
No, I love that question, and I'm just going to make some assumptions, but I hope that they're not on edge anymore. I hope they're not looking around anymore, that they're afraid of going out to the High Bridge or to a park or getting on their bikes and taking off down a street or an alley or whatever that might be. No, give it to us. Give it to us. And we've been encouraging that, but it would be probably very unlikely for them just to say, okay, the sheriff's office and the city PD and the state police have this. We're not going to worry about it anymore. That's not what I'm asking them to do.
Wow.
But maybe.
Let's go ahead and read this comment from Marsh B. Math. There's a profiler that has said she thinks this was not his first kills.
Maybe today is that first step towards that next place of peace for them too, and I hope so.
It really changed the community.
It did. It did. Yeah. And this is, I think, one of the reasons it has such a global interest is because this is every small town in America. Yeah. And
Good point, Nonviolent.
that's true. So we've tried to always remember that and talk about that and not forget the value of
Thank you, Tom.
of this work, no matter what color the shirt you're wearing. Yeah.
No. All right, let's see if we can go ahead and catch up on this chat here. He's done it plenty of times. What's he talking about? Have you publicly, privately apologized to the victims' families and the many that you've slandered while chasing your YouTube goals? Can you give me some examples? And we'll do it together. I can definitely get behind that. Some manner. I wonder. I mean, Flora is a we know it was a murder. We know it was arson. Arson is a gateway crime. It's very possible. Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, and if you can prove otherwise, I mean, I'll be happy to get behind that. And oh, here's the story right here. Anna says a friend from the tavern said Richard Allen was irritated when he lost playing pool and his wife kept playing. He wanted to leave and said to her something like, "I'll beat your effing, I'll, I'll beat the F out of you in the parking lot." Yeah, that's the same story that I heard. Do you think the DNA was a match? I'm not sure. We'll get into that because I think they did some digging. Let's jump into that right now because I do have some information on the search. Let me share my screen real quick. We'll start right here. So apparently this is a picture from the CVS where he works, and there's a suspect image up right there. So I mean, you would walk up to get your prescription and you would have a conversation about the Delphi murders with the killer. How bizarre and messed up is that? Violent crime. Tom said, it would be crazy if they found photos at his house. What does everyone think was found at his house to link him? I wonder if they told his wife the whole story while they were waiting outside during the search. Yeah, let's talk about that. Okay. So there was a report on what was found. Apparently, HLN spoke to the neighbor, and the neighbor was watching with his binoculars and was basically took an inventory of what he saw coming in and out of that house. And I was able to grab that from websleuths.com today. Somebody was kind enough to transcribe the information and post it up there. And we'll show that here in a minute as well. It's very interesting. Yeah, Lakeside, that's messed up. Yeah, I'm happy for Carter. I think Carter knows his case as well as everyone thinks. Yeah, I don't think he does as well. He's more of a... That's why he talks about the others as frontliners. He seems confident. Hey, what's up, CD? Good to see you, brother. Pat Brown was the profiler. Probably wasn't. He was bold. Yeah, that day he was very bold. Bold, high, or out of his mind, or all of the above. Evansdale? I don't know if the MO is the same. I don't know if the signatures are the same. So it's hard to say. Early on in the case, they took a look, and FBI said, no, we're not looking at this as a serial case. We haven't found a connection. Oh yeah, Pat Brown's cool. I think I saw part of that. Well, there's a video I'm going to show you of Richard Allen where it was on his wife's Facebook, and it's dated 2018. And he's wearing what looks to be the blue jacket, and he's got a big ass knife in his hand, and they're like running around doing shenanigans and shit. So I don't know. Maybe he takes it out. Maybe they're aware of it. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they were aware of what he was doing. We don't know. Mike Patty, he didn't seem too happy about that question. He almost seems to think that as well, you know. Yeah, Pat Brown is pretty good, and I'm right there with her. I was looking all morning long for similar cases, missing, people attacked, missing teenagers, teenagers found, people attacked on trails, anything strange like that. And I'll continue looking. If I find anything, I'll share it with you guys. All right. Sorry, guys. There's just no way for me to keep up with this chat. I'm doing my best. Hold on. See what I did with that screenshot from Web Sleuth. All right, here it is. It's like, I know I put it in this file. Okay, so it looks like it was originally posted from the Observer, and then a member of Web Sleuths here, Mary Smith, reposted it. So thank you, Mary. She posted it at about 1:54 a.m. this morning. It was exactly what I was looking for. So thank you so much. And this websleuth.com, I believe, is where I found it. Wait, what happened? On everyone Sleuth, that dude has been all over everyone's channel since yesterday, telling them they slandered the family. Well, I mean, in a sense, I did. You know, on my Facebook page earlier, I never pointed at any of them. You know, I just said it wouldn't be wise to say they had nothing to do with it. But I also said in the same sentence, you don't go around accusing them unless you have solid facts. But it wouldn't be wise to just eliminate them because they're the family, you know? Yeah, I guess I still stand by that. Yep, and Ivy, that's the theory. We're going to try to tie all this information together with a theory that kind of hit me this morning, and I want to get your guys' opinions on it. We're going to end the live on that, and we'll open up the lines, and if this Zachary guy wants to call in, he can call me out right here on the show if he wants to. So, I have no problem with that. Yeah, what if he put that poster up? And I have this strange feeling that he took copies of those photos. So anytime he would get photos of people, or maybe even new targets, or the girls' families came in and maybe he kept copies of them. Trophies and souvenirs. No, Shay. I don't have that information. Yeah, that wasn't very wise. That's a good point, Tracy. I'm pretty sure that's as long as I've been on YouTube, Marsh. All right. All right, let's take a look at this. All right. So, posting these notes for anybody that might be interested in pinpoints. Yes, we are. Thank you so much. Information from Barbara McDonald from down the hill and the neighbor 2 doors up. Okay, now a search. So, this happened on October 13th. Interesting. Search October 13th commenced just before noon. Went for 12 hours. Law enforcement arrived in unmarked vehicles and clothing. Law enforcement asked Rick and his wife to exit the house. Rick stood in the driveway for several hours and also sat in the car with his wife for several hours. At some point, the neighbor said the wife left. Plenty of law enforcement just stood around for the first part of the day. As it was getting dark, Chief Deputy Leggett arrived with a piece of paper in his hand. He handed the paper to Rick. Immediately, a tow truck arrived to take Rick Allen's car away. At this point, some law enforcement entered the house and some entered the backyard. They started searching the shed and taking pictures. Law enforcement were using a device like a metal detector for sonar around the shed and in the flower bed. They did not dig in the flower bed, but did dig up 2 tiny spots near the shed. Law enforcement started bringing items out from the house. Neighbors said one law enforcement officer came out with what appeared to be 2 large bundles of dark colored cloth. Could not be sure if it was clothes, only that it was definitely cloth. Dark colored cloth. That sounds awful. Sounds like old blood, maybe. He also brought out a Macy's shopping bag, a shoebox, a small stack of books, said they were thin books, not thick like encyclopedia books. The neighbor said they were starting to get concerned and placed a call to Chief Deputy Leggett to ask if he was going on, and all that Leggett told him was to stay vigilant, especially with your wife and daughters. This unsettled them. The day after the search, Rick went to work. The neighbor states he saw him in the store and felt that Rick was continuing as if nothing. Neighbor said they lived life as normal till October 26th when Rick was detained. From October 26th, the neighbors have not seen anybody at the house. They have not seen the wife since he was detained. House has remained empty since October 26th. The neighbors said they were a normal family. They did not have visitors, no parties, etc. They were very quiet. Neighbor said he would see Rick arrive home from work and would regularly sit in the driveway in a lawn chair having a few beers and maybe smoking some cigarettes. Neighbor said they had a little bit more interaction with the wife than they did with him. Final note here. I think we can assume law enforcement sat around for hours and made sure nothing was interfered with whilst they gained a warrant for the house and car. So the search itself did not go on for 12 hours. So that is very interesting. So they told him, get out of the house and we're going to detain you and you're going to sit right here. And then they came back like 6 hours later with a warrant and started digging shit up. What's up, Irish Badass? I suspect that the wife knew some things. Yeah, I'm starting to suspect that too. I don't want to say that until they can announce it, but what an awful thought. Thank you, CD. Likewise, buddy. I don't know. They were negotiating with Keegan Klein, and right after his stuff gets scheduled, boom, they're searching this guy's house. And Kagan's not going to give up that information freely. I mean, he might be dumb, but he ain't that dumb. So if he knew anything about this guy, possibly being a killer, because that could explain why he was looking up the DNA stuff and why he was so interested in it. He's like, oh shit, like, look, like telling his dad, like, look, man, like, look, Richard, the guy that I bought the drugs from or whatever, like, look, I think this is him on the bridge. And we'll get into that a little bit later when we jump into that theory. I want to stick to the facts first. Yeah, there are some people that are still sticking with it. That you got to remember, this is an experiment on human behavior. So keep your eyes open. Watch this. Watch how they act and hold people accountable. Like I said, everything that I got wrong and all the stuff I got right, I'll stand behind, because a lot of the shit I did get right. And the way I look at it is now I can focus on, the path that I took to get those to the right parts and just do more of that and stay away from the other stuff. Irish Badass says, can tell he's mean if he's not drunk. She probably kept him drunk because he's somewhat nicer buzzed. Been a bartender for decades. I can see similarities in alcoholic behaviors. See, human behavior. That's an interesting thing to say. Or a good observation, I guess. You see those types. One thing I noticed about him, in all of the images, he never smiles. You know what I mean? So let me pull up all of pretty much everything I have gathered on him. And then I'll show you the latest video with him holding the knife and in his blue jacket. It's just really creepy. All right. Tom asked, has anybody confirmed that Richard Allen had a niece named Emily Ann? No, but Kagan Klein's, I believe his cousin has a daughter named Emily Ann. And Kagan admitted to creating and using the Emily Ann account. He was looking all suspicious in that video right there. She got him. Yeah, Bossy, and that's what we're gonna speculate on that. We're gonna go over this theory that I want your help with, because it makes sense to me. And I kind of hit me with one of those light bulb moments. Manhunter. I'm gonna have to take a look. Tom's asking, does anybody know anything about the brother-in-law of his that died? No, that's the first I'm hearing of it. Is what from? The information from the neighbor? Is that what we're asking, Shannon? That came from websleuths.com. If you're asking about the video that we're watching, I put that one together myself. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this one.
Stop! You need to stop. I need to stop. But you know what? I'm not going to. It's going to be a really long day. Oh, God.
Hold on. That's the right video, just the wrong version. Give me a moment.
You need to stop. You need to stop. I need to stop. But you know what? I'm not going to. It's going to be a really long day. Oh, God.
Okay, so this apparently was in 2018, I believe December. And there's even a brown, something that appears to be brown leather on the ground. So, I mean, this could be something he brings out once in a while. I'm not sure. Yeah, Parabon DNA may have played a part. What say you? They're very confident on the murder charges. Yeah, it's very possible. And I always said that's why maybe Doug said these. The perpetrator could be somewhere in between these sketches, because we got one that's an eyewitness, and then we got one that's created from the DNA. But I think it could have also been maybe from the Marathon gas station. They did witness the video, even though it was destroyed. They could have been like, well, this is what the guy looked like, at least. All right. Well, that's everything I wanted to show you. We can go ahead and get into that discussion here. Let me pull up. I gathered a few things. Okay. Okay. That's why. Yeah, I had some videos I wanted to show you. So the theory goes like this in a nutshell. Kagan Klein, or somebody that Kagan was with that day, we know that he went over there to Country Club Road. Okay, let's say he's there. And for whatever reason, they need to meet with Richard Allen. My thought is because he's working in a pharmacy, maybe he's been stealing certain types of drugs and selling them to people. We know that Kagan, his neighbors and people, they do drugs. You know, they're not out there being productive members of society. So he meets up with this guy, and maybe they also share CSAM. You know, so that would fit in the Marathon gas station. The Marathon gas station is right by his house. He doesn't want to meet at his house, meet at the Marathon gas station. I'll go ahead and give you, you know, your pills or whatever it is that you want. And then while they're there, he tells them, you know, it's kind of funny that I'm in Delphi because I was supposed to, you know, I was talking to these girls and they're going to the Monon High Bridge. And, you know, maybe something transpired from that point that led him to the bridge. Like, well, here, let me see your phone. Let me, you know, I'll tell him to meet me here. Or maybe he walked to the Marathon gas station and he asked somebody, hey, maybe Kagan wasn't alone. You know, maybe there was another person as well. Hey, can you take me? You know, drop me off over there and I'll just walk home from there. You know, something along those lines. But let's start with a few videos that I found, and they were very easy to find. Basically, workers, pharmacists, pharmacy techs, people that are working for a pharmacy where they're stealing the drugs and either to feed their addiction or to sell them on the street. We will start with this one.
This CVS pharmacy tech is in the Sumter County Detention Center, facing multiple controlled drug theft charges, larceny of credit cards, and fraud. Deputies picked up 28-year-old Chelsea Ilg Tuesday at the CVS on County Road 466 in the Villages. A CVS manager and loss prevention officer say they had been aware of several thefts of controlled substances by the defendant at a number of different CVS locations. Ilg is accused of stealing hydrocodone, acetaminophen, Xanax, and morphine sulfate. She's also charged with taking a 77-year-old villager's credit card and allegedly paying for a room here at the Marriott Town Place Suites in Lady Lake. The victim's credit card company alerted her to suspicious activity, which included hotel room 229. The arrest report says the victim confronted the defendant, who was staying in room 229. The report goes on to say the defendant denied using her credit card to purchase the room. She was a frequent visitor to a residence and had ample opportunity to steal said credit cards. Deputies said the credit cards were taken from a dresser drawer in the bedroom of the victim's residence. Detectives also say the CVS tech smuggled a tablet of morphine sulfate into the detention center. The arrest report says the tablet was located on the bottom of the defendant's left foot after being asked to remove her shoes and socks. In Sumter County, Gail Pascal Brown, West.
Are accused of taking pills from their workplaces. The arrests all happened just within the last week. WNBF News reporter Jennifer Roberts found out if this is part of a bigger drug operation. She joins us now live in the studio. So Jennifer, what did you learn from this?
Well, Rachel and Eric, in the past week, DHEC has arrested 4 workers who allegedly stole medications and or pills from their employer. 4 in 1 week. Now that may feel like a lot for some folks, but the 15th Circuit solicitor tells me that doesn't necessarily mean it's part of a targeted operation.
It's years of school. It's lots of hard work, dedication. We're the most accessible healthcare professional, I believe.
Tiffany Combs is a pharmacist at Nye's Pharmacy in Conway. She says the reputation of a pharmacist means everything because so many people trust them to do the right thing.
It's huge. We want to keep our community safe.
DHEC officials say some workers in the Horry County community aren't living up to those work ethics because they're pocketing your medications. Over the past 7 days, DHEC has arrested 4 people in the Conway and Little River areas who are accused of stealing medications. This includes a registered nurse who authorities believe stole morphine from Conway Medical Center, a CVS pharmacist, and a person who worked at Nye's Pharmacy. I reached out to DHEC to get more details about the 4 cases we're aware of. I'm told their officers cannot comment at this time. 15th Circuit Solicitor Jimmy Richardson says it may feel like a lot of arrests in such a short period of time to some people, but it's hard to know for sure if these cases are part of a larger DHEC operation that's targeting people suspected of stealing patients' medications.
If you've got an officer that's really, worth their weight in salt, you're going to see once they get focused on a certain area, they'll start looking, and that may uncover quite a bit.
Some wonder why a worker would steal pills on the job. Richardson says in many cases, workers stealing drugs behind the counter are dealing with an addiction.
Most of what we see is them feeding that addiction. I'm guessing there have been times that people would sell it to try to make money, but the overwhelming amount of times it's to feed some sort of an addiction.
And Richardson tells me his office.
Noah Gill says, Sleuth, did you hear anything about him checking himself into a hospital a month after the murders? Only rumors. I've been searching for any verification on that, and I can't find anything to support that right now other than rumor. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and share page 185 of Kagan Klein's interview transcript. All right. He says, no, I'm not saying I probably said that, but what I'm saying is I would never go meet somebody. So Kagan's like, I'm telling you, I would never go meet them. Okay. The girlfriend I have now, I wouldn't even meet because I was like so nervous because of all the stuff that happened. I'm just like, and law enforcement asked him, so then did you give the information to somebody else? I mean, was there some sort of and I can see that happening. I mean, I can see you making a statement of, oh man, this girl wants to meet. She's going to the High Bridge today. And then whoever you told that to. See, so that plays right into that theory there. Let me go ahead and open up the phone lines. If anybody wants to call, now is the time. Probably hang out for about maybe 15, 30 minutes. Oh, let me go ahead and get this connected here. Let me know if you guys hear like a weird buzz. I'm going to close out the poll real quick before I forget. So it looks like here, the poll question was, is it possible KK was meeting RA at the Marathon gas station for drugs and mentioned the girls. 36% of you said yes, it is possible. 14% said no. 28% said that might be interesting. 21% said here we go with the speculation. So the poll results are in. And then I also pulled a little screenshot from something I found on Reddit. Let's take a look at this here. Okay. KK searched for the location of the Marathon gas station in Delphi on the day of the murders, according to the murder sheet and their sources. Hold on, we got a call.
Oh,
Hello, can you, caller, can you turn off the podcast in the background?
yeah.
Please, thank you.
Yep.
Is this Michelle?
It is.
Hi, Michelle. What can we do for you? What's on your mind?
Is this Sleuth?
This is Sleuth.
Okay. Hi. I'm Miss Kitty 213 online, but I was just wondering. Nobody has brought up the suspicion of. Remember when Keegan was talking about sitting in that red car and he was waiting for the dude that went and did the murders and then came back?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to save that for last, but my opinion on that is that part he made up. He made that part up in prison because you remember. Did you ever watch a YouTube channel video from The Unsolved where he basically one of Kagan's cellmates or somebody that was locked up with him reached out to The Unsolved and said, "Hey, look, Kagan did tell me that same story that he was waiting in a Jeep or whatever and went while somebody else committed the crime." So if he's telling all these people that, I think that was just a story for clout, and I think he used it to maybe further his situation, for the better.
It was a weird thing anyway. I mean, who waits in a car while someone goes, "Hey, can you wait a sec? I just gotta go commit these 2 murders. I'll be right back."
Yeah, could you imagine?
You know what I mean?
And if this Richard Allen guy, like, let's say he, for some reason, he did meet up with Kagan at the Marathon gas station.
Yeah.
Let me see. I think I have something here. So if they met up here at this gas station and he's like, "Hey man, you remember those girls I was showing you, those images?" And if he's involved in any of this CSAM stuff, he could have been like, "Yeah, well, they're trying to meet me here." And he could have been like, "Are you serious? Like, take me over there. Like, take me to the bridge,
Yeah. True. Hey, well, nice chatting with you. I watched the show and
Kitty 213, is that what you said?
Miss Kitty 213, that's me.
Miss Kitty 213. All right. Thank you so much for calling in. Anything else you wanted to go over? All right. Thank you so much for calling in.
I hope Zachary, is that his name? I hope he calls. I'll be interested.
Yeah, he seems like he has a lot to say. There's the number right there at the bottom of the screen.
It is. So, Zach, if you're listening, give us a call because, yeah, we're ready for you.
Yeah, come on in, buddy.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Sleuth. You have a really good day, okay?
Great call. Thank you so much.
Alrighty, bye.
Bye. Awesome. Yeah, that's a really good point. What about the Jeep stuff? And I think that stuff was all clout. All clout. Analysis of crime or DNA of the girls found during the SW of his home. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, the dark colored clothes. Hold on, we got to. Hello, Michelle. Are you there?
Hey, Sleuth. How are you?
Good. What's going on? What can we do for you?
Well, I used to be a crime scene investigator.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah. And I was thinking last night because there's so many different.
Hold that
And
thought.
him working.
Hold that thought. We got another call.
Call from
Bossy.
to accept, press 1. To send a voice.
Okay. Bossy, are you on the line along with Michelle?
Yeah, no problem, Liz.
Bossy, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes. Is Michelle here as well with us? Michelle, are you here? Michelle, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Bossy, you here?
I am.
Okay. So let's just finish up with what Michelle was saying, Bossy, and then we'll get with you, okay?
No worries.
Okay. I'm sorry about
Okay.
that, Michelle. What were you saying?
It's okay. I've seen crime scenes, and I thought about the fact, he worked at CBS, and they, of course, he didn't want to leave DNA or fingerprints. The thought of him possibly wearing latex or nitrile gloves to the scene is very high.
Okay.
So if he possibly left a glove behind, something like that, they could match those numbers to the batch that was delivered to CVS, because every item or anything that you buy has a tracing number on it that you can match directly to the exact batch. And his fingerprints would have been on the inside of the glove as well as the outside of the glove. Even if he cleaned his, the outside of his hands to clean the fingerprints off, the gloves would have still been, or the prints would have still been inside the glove. The problem was he had never been arrested before, so his prints wouldn't have been on file. Now, I know they've said that I can't remember who said it, but they said he had a conceal and carry. So yes, you have to have your fingerprints on federal paperwork. But how true is it that he had an actual CCW and not just legally carried with that 3 steps before he can use it? Because there's a fine line.
Not to jump off topic, but what was your opinion on the stuff that they were bringing out of his home, according to the neighbor? HLN reported, I think it was a shoebox, a Macy's bag. They dug at least 2 holes, and they had dark colored clothing. Do you think dark colored clothing, could that be old blood stain on a clothing? Would it be dark?
It's a possibility, being the fact that he was in jeans, he was the blue jacket, and the blood would be at this point, the blood would be very, very dark, almost a black, like a dark red-brown, what we call red-brown stains, but it would possibly even be darker, depending. Arterial blood and regular blood turns kind of like 2 different colors. Arterial blood gets a deeper darkness, and then being on top of that dark blue jacket, it would show darker. But I don't believe that he would be stupid enough to not burn them, knowing that 5.5 years, his wife or his daughter or somebody could have found them. But he's a narcissist.
Yeah, maybe he
so
couldn't.
He probably, right. And it was memories for him. He could go out there and look at everything and be like, and relive that moment.
Yep.
And the fact that, he's developing all of these photos and everything, the person orders 2 sets, they order duplicates, but he can make a 3rd duplicate.
Yeah, without anybody knowing. They would have to
Without
actually do
anybody
they would have to do like an inventory on like the counter and all that stuff.
Right. What they do is they take the film and they order 2 sets, the duplicates, and then he can take that film and make another set and just write it off as as it being damaged,
Mm-hmm.
and no one was none the wiser.
Yep. Anything else, Michelle?
No, that's it. I just wanted to bring that idea
Do
up.
you want to hang out? Do you want to hang out? I just want to quickly check in with what's going on with Bossy. Bossy, are you there?
Sure. I'm here.
Hey, what's going on, Bossy?
Hi, how's everyone doing today?
I'm doing well. It's good to hear from you.
I'm
What's going
doing
on?
well, but okay, I wanted to call before I get off on a tangent. This might seem irrelevant, but on Saturday I went to a Halloween costume party, and I went as a ghost. Okay, so I have a point to this. So there are people there at this party that I've known for 15, 20 years, and they told me that they could not recognize my voice. And I started thinking, if she had the phone in her pocket during the audio, that very well could be why he went under the radar for so long as far as the voice comparison goes. So like people throwing his wife under the bus saying she should have known and etc. That like I said, they said that, at my costume party, they said maybe it was the sheet that changed my voice. But that's one thing I wanted to say. I think it's very possible that nobody recognized his voice because of it being in a different, the phone being like in her pocket or somewhere like that. It's definitely going to change the way it sounds.
And it sounds like he might have been two different type of people. You got this guy who was just kind of like he seems like in his own mind. He's never smiling. He just seems unhappy. Everybody thought he was soft spoken and generally a nice guy. But then there was also reports of him being able to just freak out. So maybe that voice, when he's this other guy, sounds much more confident and more angry. It could change.
Absolutely. And I almost get the impression that he was living a double life. That's my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I
I agree.
can say with 90% certainty that he has worked at the CVS in Peru before. I believe he used to go around to different CVSs being a fill-in manager there, because I know for a fact that this man has helped me before. So if he's telling if he's having to travel different places for his job, working at CVS and stuff like that, it's a very good cover for his wife and his home life. Hey, honey, I'm going to stay, at a hotel because I got to work the whole week to cover this shift for this manager.
I'm really
etc.
tired. I want to get some sleep. Really, I want to get an early start on tomorrow or something.
Absolutely,
I could see
So
that.
I mean, it's very, people, unless you've lived in a situation where you've been with someone who's, in some aspect lived a double life or is a different person outside of the home, it is kind of hard to fathom unless you've kind of been through that type of situation before. People can be very deceptive, very deceptive. So that's one thing I kind of wanted to touch base on.
Hold
the
that
other
thought.
thing is
For some reason, that just clicked everybody out. So anybody who wants to call back, feel free. Yeah, we can only have 4 callers, and I think I added one too many, and it like glitched out. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, analyst said if a pharmacy tech holds back a couple of pills from a prescription, enough could be gathered for something criminal. Exactly, and you wouldn't even know. The count wouldn't be off.
okay.
Hello, looks like we have another call from Joe. What's going on, Joe?
Hi, Smith. How are you?
Good. How are you? I'm
Yeah,
well,
I
thank you.
wanted to get your
Hold that thought. We got somebody Every time somebody calls in, I can't hear the caller, so give me a second to add them.
Call from.
Hey, this is Corey. I'm a caller.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Okay. Who do we have on the line? I know, are you still there, Joe?
I'm still here.
Caller, are you there? Not caller, are you there? It says the person's here. Well, we'll continue on, Joe. Sorry about that.
That's no problem. Should I talk first?
Oh, hello?
Okay. Yeah, I knew you were
Hello?
there. Yes, caller. What was your name?
Oh, Coy. I'm from Ohio.
What was your name? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Coy. C-O-Y, Coy.
Coy. Okay, hang tight, Coy. We got Joe on the line as well, and she was just finishing up with something, or she was getting ready to tell us something, and then we'll jump right to you. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, I just wanted your thoughts and opinion on the Emily Ann account, and when Emily Ann was talking to the girl asking about her father, if she would sleep with him, and the girl asking the age, and the age was 42, I believe, which would be Ricky Allen's age and not Tony's, like everyone thought. His age wasn't fitting.
Oh wow.
So,
That's
it would
interesting.
align with Ricky's age.
42.
So just thoughts on
And that
that.
was 2016, right?
That was in the transcripts from, that was in Keegan's transcripts when they asked about Emily Ann.
Yeah, from 2016, I believe. So he would have had to have been whatever minus years it was up until 2016.
He's 50 now, right?
Yep. Yep, that matches.
Yeah, so it would be his age, not TK's. So it looks like he could possibly be the second user.
Yeah, that's interesting. I even have had time to go that far into it. But I will be looking into that for sure. That's a good point,
Okay, thank
Joe.
you.
I'll look into it, and then when we go over it, call me back, okay?
Yeah, no problem. Just one more thing I wanted to
Sure.
say. Everybody keeps saying that. Why do they keep saying, innocent till proven guilty, innocent? Because they don't want to taint a jury pool and believe that they want to keep this in their county. They want this case. They want this man themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So the DA is trying to keep a fair jury pool.
I agree.
He does not want to taint it. So it's innocent until proven guilty. That's why he kept stressing it. Okay. Thank you for having me on.
Good call, Joe. I'm going to look into that.
And
I'm going to see if the
I
ages
look
do
forward
match
to
up.
what you
That's
find.
very interesting, and hopefully we can get you to call back, okay?
Yep, absolutely. Thanks.
All right, have a great day.
All right. You too.
Coy,
Oh, hey.
what's going on?
Yes, not much, man. Having a good morning. Took a little break from work to call in.
Appreciate it.
About Richard being tech savvy. See, I've seen that on a few things he's posting on image boards like 4chan and things like that. I'm thinking this Richard guy he's a degenerate, man. He probably hates women, and I'm looking through Acoon and like all these other sites to see if I can find like something linking to him, because I mean this guy I think he's been online, and I think he hates women. And another thing is with the pictures that he paid for. See, I'm thinking this man already had it in his mind that he was going to pay for them, so he could just write it up as whatever.
I used to work in a photo lab, and they don't keep track of that stuff very well. So it's kind of like at a bar, you're like, oh, that beer's for free. Nobody's going to notice if he just hands them their stuff without charging. Nobody's going to even notice. All he has to do is delete the order out of the system. Boom, deleted, never happened. Here you go.
Wow. See, I had no idea about that.
Yep.
Thanks. I was thinking, how would they keep a receipt on that? But if they could just delete the order, that makes more sense now.
Yep.
Well, thank you, buddy.
Hey, thanks for the call, Coy. I appreciate it.
Yep, no problem. Thank
Bye.
you.
Call from.
Good morning.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hold on a second.
If they went in and made a search, I will guarantee you that pet hair will be found somewhere in that house. I don't care if the pet's long gone, that hair will still be there.
Caller, real
And
quick. I think
that-
we cut you off the first half. What was your name?
Wayne.
Wayne. Thank you, Wayne. Call, and I think we have somebody else on the line. Are you there, caller?
Yeah, I'm here.
Was your name Sean? Is that you, Sean? Was your name Sean?
Yeah, I'm Sean.
Okay,
Hold on
Sean.
1 second.
All right, Sean, hang tight. Wayne, and you were stating that
Yes.
you're thinking that the scientific aspect, or potentially you're saying animal hair, it doesn't matter if the animal is dead or living, right?
No, I think if he had an animal at his house, a pet, he certainly would have had that hair on that fiber, that hair on his clothes, and he possibly would have left some of it at the crime scene. They would have picked up that pet hair, and once they got a lead on him when they searched his house, they would find the pet hair, because anybody that has a pet knows you're never going to get rid of all the pet hair. It's going to be somewhere
especially cat
in that
hair.
house. Right.
What
Or
do you,
dog.
What do you think about them digging? You think, let's say the animal is long passed away, they buried it in the yard. There's still going to be hair buried along with the cat. You think it's something possible that they would go that far, dig up the cat, match the hair? That seems like something that would be very powerful in a courtroom.
I think so, and like very possibly they would do that, certainly, and that's one aspect of it. But I believe some way DNA is connected this man to this crime, and they just don't want to release it for their own reasons.
Well, the last caller seems who actually worked with crime scenes stated she believes it was a fingerprint. And if he's not in the system, or if his fingerprints aren't in the system, that could have been the reason why he went under the radar for so long, and they might have attached that to him.
That's a very good possibility. I mean, if there was so-called rubber gloves left there, I don't know that was there or not. But yeah, there certainly could be a fingerprint.
All right, Wayne, anything else?
No, that's all I've got. But
and I do agree with you.
Enjoying the show.
I agree with you. Thank you for that call. Sean, are you there?
Bye.
Yeah, I'm here.
What's going on, man?
Not a lot, man. I've watched a lot of your videos. I've never called in, but I don't think I've ever been able to catch you live. So that's why. But I've watched a lot of your videos.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, I just and also I wanted to also compliment you on the where you have the two faces coming together. Because it's like the only thing that I see that's different about the old man sketch is the nose. But the nose is like right dead on center with the young guy sketch.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if you take that nose and you put it on the old guy sketch, it's him all day.
Yep.
Like they somehow knew that. I don't know how, but they somehow knew what his nose looked like.
Well, apparently
I don't know how they did.
Apparently a young girl came face to face with this guy, and she also mentioned that he was a shorter guy, that he's not 5'10" or he's not 6 foot, that he's closer to her height, which was around 5'6", 5'7". And I think that she may have helped with this description, because apparently she came face to face with him, And, you know, maybe she just saw the nose and didn't really catch the bottom of the face, but got the nose spot on.
Yeah, that's what I was like. That nose is like that nose is like they somehow knew what his nose looked like. I think didn't they say ain't it something like with DNA genealogy they can like figure out what your nose look like through that too? Ain't there like
Yeah.
some kind of like way to
They
I'm
can.
almost wondering if it was that because like that nose is so precise that it's like I don't know how they could have got that nose. So like it's almost like I feel like if they would have told people we're looking for somebody with a nose that looks, you know what I mean? I feel like they might have caught him a long time ago. I mean that nose is so like predominant when it just stands out so much.
And another problem is people, when they look at the facts, are like, okay, well, we're looking for an old guy who's around 5'8", 5'10", and that doesn't sound like this Richard guy. Okay, so can't be him. He's a short guy, soft spoken. Can't be him. So I think law enforcement, when they put out these details, they might need to hold the public's hand just a little bit more on explaining the nuance of it all. And, really it's more of a ballpark type figure, because when people start excluding POIs, and really, if it is your family member and you're like, man, that sounds like such and such, or that looks like such and such, all it takes is like a one piece of information that doesn't match with them. And you're like, okay, God, because you just want something to come along and say, hey, it's not my brother or it's not my father. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely. And I was listening to the last caller, and I understand a lot of. I do agree a lot with what she was saying, but like I don't think at that time, I don't think anybody that was living with him could have seen that video, heard that voice, knowing what he was wearing that day, just knowing whether he was working, just knowing what his movements were that day, seeing that video. I don't think anybody that was living with that person could have not known that was. I mean,
You hope
I'm not
not.
going to sit up there. Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, exactly. But it's just like it's very hard for me to believe that like she didn't at least have like some kind of suspicion that was him. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's just like you got to know what kind of club, because I don't think he went out there intending on being recorded. So I don't think that he put on any special outfit to do it. Anything like that. I'm pretty sure he was wearing the same probably clothes that he would wear any other day.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
I agree.
possible she worked that day and she didn't see what he put on that day, but I'm sure she known like the kind of clothes he wear, what kind of outfit he would wear, and the way he walks. Like you seeing him walk across that bridge, you hearing the voice, you see like
Well, here, I mean,
don't
the
think
guy's wearing what appears to be the jacket, and he's playing pool here in December of 2016, just maybe a month and a half prior to the crime. I mean, how do you not know? I mean,
yeah, and I seen that too. Yeah, and it looks exactly like the jacket. Yeah, exactly. I seen that too, and it looks exactly like the jacket. So maybe, but maybe she's the one who actually, because it sounds like there's a reward coming. If you listen to when
yeah,
they were questioning Carter, it sounds like there's a reward coming to somebody. So somebody tipped them off.
good.
So, but I'm on. But the thing about it that's hard for me is just like I can't tie him to Klein. So was he just something that randomly popped up on their radar?
I'm
Or
not
was
sure.
in the
That's what
Klein?
I'm saying. This is like some kind of weird coincidence. While they're searching the Wabash and Keegan Klein, it's like as soon as he got his court stuff situated, boom, they're like searching this guy's place. You know what I mean? So I think it's tied in. And the only reason I think it's tied in is the whole Marathon gas station thing. I mean, that's like right around the corner from his home. He could have easily walked over there, had a quick conversation with Keegan Klein, even something that he had no knowledge of, and been like, "Oh well, I was supposed to meet these girls here," and he's like, "Oh well, that's
Okay.
interesting at 2:30. Okay, well I got time to go and I'll meet them."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. It's just how like the Keegan keeping his mouth closed for this long doesn't make sense.
Well,
Like
think
like
about
I
it.
just I don't I
It's like a credit
go
card.
ahead.
It's like a credit card. You know what I mean? He kept it in his back pocket the whole time. He's like, okay, if I'm facing life in jail for all this CSAM stuff, that means that this is my ace in the hole.
Yeah, but that was the ace in the hole he could have used 2 years ago. If you tell them I know who killed them little girls in Delphi, he could have got a deal 2 years ago. It's not going to take 2 years of them. And then I don't think if the Richard guy was really tied to him, I don't think that he's going to still have evidence in his house after knowing that Klein's been arrested. Like, you got to be a fool to still keep anything in your house at that point.
Well, just
There's
remember,
no way.
the same thing that causes these people that impulsive behavior that caused them to go become a killer and kill these two young girls is almost the same behavior that won't allow them to get rid of the clothes or the signatures, or not the signatures, the trophies. So as much as they know that it could bring them down, they just can't part with it, because every time he probably dug it up, he gets to relive the crime. It's for power for him. He gets to relive it over and over again. It makes him almost like, for whatever reason, he seems depressed. So whatever's causing him to be depressed, when he goes to those I'm so sorry, those trophies, he's reliving that powerful moment that brought him all that power. And he's not going to part with that because it makes him like a god. You're not going to give that up ever. And it got him caught, it sounds like.
Yeah, I guess that does make sense now that you said it, because there's been a lot of times when, like, serial killers have been caught with stuff after years later, when it's like, okay, why didn't you get rid of that? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, why would you hold on? So yeah,
Well,
I guess that definitely makes.
Jeffrey Dahmer said, I wanted to keep it close. I wanted to, I couldn't part with them. He says, I wasn't really a cannibal. I just wanted to consume them. I couldn't part with them. So first he was keeping like heads in a box or all this weird stuff, so that he could relive that moment. And some of these killers, it seems like that's not enough. It's enough to hold him back. Like, who was it? Ted Bundy. It would hold him back, but then he would just go out and he couldn't help it. Nothing was better than that kill. And I think if we wouldn't have kept all this pressure on this guy, that might have been the case with him again.
Yeah, most definitely. I don't know, if I had to guess now, I would put my money that Klein doesn't have anything to do with them.
Yeah, it's a stretch.
I don't.
If you're going to put your money on it, for sure.
No. Well, I take that back. I wouldn't say I would put my money on it, but if I were to have to make a guess right now, I definitely wouldn't put my money on it. I'll take that back. But I would say that this was just some random thing that they stumbled upon. Somebody called this guy in, and they stumbled upon him. Or they were using Klein to flush him out. They were using Klein to flush him out, like maybe think, oh, we're totally on to somebody else. So they were watching him. Maybe they were watching him move stuff around. Maybe they kind of had their eyes on him.
Well, the video that I played earlier is him in a blue coat. I'm not sure if it's the same one or not, but he's in a blue coat. It's in 2018. It's almost a year after the crime. He's holding a knife. So, I mean, it's just strange. Maybe sometimes he pulls out the stuff and might like wear it around just around the house, maybe. And they were waiting for him to do something like that.
You said there was a video posted after the murders with him with a blue coat on?
Yeah, you want to see it?
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, watch. I played it at the beginning of the live stream. I think you might have missed it.
Okay, I gotta fast forward now because I paused it while we were talking. Okay. All right. I said we should be. All right, I see it now.
Okay.
All right, I see it now.
So this is his wife's YouTube, and she was like kind of goofing around inside the house, and she heard a loud bang. To me, it sounds like a bird hitting the door or the bird hitting the window, and he's just kind of poking at it with his knife. But this is 2018, and he looks like he's wearing the exact same jacket.
Wow.
So
yeah, this guy's got to be a psychopath or something.
So yeah,
he's got to be.
He might have hid that stuff, and then maybe for holidays he would put it on or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess there ain't no reason with people like that. You try to put a reason behind something like that, and you can't put a reason behind people.
Yeah, who kills children? I mean, that's why we're here. That's why people are drawn to true crime, because we're trying to figure out like what could cause this to happen around people that are just living their normal lives. You got these monsters, and they're just right there at the CVS developing your film. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just hope he's not one of those people that try to for the rest of his life proclaims his innocence, so we never get to actually hear the story of why he did it. You know?
Yeah, that would piss me off.
Yeah, that's what it's already seeming like it is. He's not being cooperative now, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he won't in the future. But I hope he at least one day tells the reason why he did this, because if not, that's gonna be. I mean, that's almost gonna haunt me right there. I mean, now that we finally got to this point, I'm happy, but if I can't hear why, like, I just want to know, like, why, like, you're 40-some years old, you just be a killer one day, like.
Yeah, what happened? What the hell's going on, man? Like explain to us the sickness that you're dealing with so that we can see it, and people who are dealing with it can go get help. Because I mean,
yeah, exactly. Maybe
he's not done victimizing. Like, all these victims are still coming. Like, this whole court proceeding is going to re-victimize everybody.
Yeah, especially the family.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the family. And did you hear what the grandpa said when he said?
Hold on, guys. I don't know why we dropped that call. Sorry, Sean. I don't know if you hung up on me or if your phone died. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna shut it down anyway. If you want to finish your comment there in the chat, we're gonna close this down. I got like 1 million calls coming through. I'm sorry, guys. If you want to leave a voicemail or something, I'll try to get back to you if I can. All right. So the lines have been officially closed down. We're going to end this live stream here, probably hang out another 5 minutes while we close out. I want to thank everybody who called, Bossy, Joe, Sean, Wayne, all you guys were awesome. And we'll open up these lines again next time. Members, we'll try to do something tomorrow for you guys if I can put something worth the time. And if not, we'll hold off for something on the weekend. That's horrible, Irish. Sorry to hear that. Not sure, Radar. They took his truck apparently. When they were doing the search, they took his truck. Must have been a reason. That's disgusting, Anna. If he was in that search party, I also heard he may have come forward as a witness. So I'm going to do my best to verify all this information so we can present it during our next chat. Is everyone tripping about the free pics of Tara for the memorial pics or flyers? I'm not familiar with that, sorry. Yeah, I'm real curious about the whole cat aspect. I doubt it. It's a good question, Kay. All right, guys, you have a great night. I'll see you on the next one.